Hey everybody, it's Chad from Six Blog. Well, today is January 1, 2015, another year gone by. I want to say a big thanks to everybody that watches my videos, all my subscribers and everybody. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the videos and even more so leaving comments. Enjoy reading through the comments and interacting with everyone. So I want to say a big thank you for everyone that does so. But anyway, like I said, January 1, and I'm getting ready for a hike coming up, so can't beat that. I'm not on the trail at the moment, that would be even cooler, but I do have one coming up pretty soon. And I got a few items for Christmas. If you keep up on my blog's Facebook page, then you've already seen these and know what they are. But I got a few new items for Christmas, and I'm going to take out on this hike coming up and see what I think about them. Now I want to begin by saying that I didn't need either one of these items, and to be quite honest, they're heavier than the options that I used, so I'm not really sure how they'll work out, just knowing that I have other things that work perfectly well, but they're lighter. But I really wanted to try some of these two particular items here, and my wife got them for me, so thank you, honey, for just spoiling me rotten with all this backpacking gear and stuff. But anyway, I wanted to take time and kind of just talk about both of these items for a little bit before I take them out on the hike. Now, if you haven't got it from the video thus far, I have never used these on the trail. Since I've got them, I've actually used them at home quite a little bit. I've almost put a whole canister of fuel through the Jetboil MiniMo already. And I've taken quite a few naps, not quite a few, I've taken a couple of naps, as well as spent most of yesterday actually laying on this pad watching football games, and will probably end up doing so again later this evening. But I've been spending some time on it. Like I said, I haven't actually slept on it overnight. Of course, I haven't used it out in the backcountry at all, but I have spent a little bit of time with it. So these are just my initial impressions. Don't take it any other way. I'm not trying to say anything long-term about these items. So first, just to get it out of the way, I want to talk about the Jetboil MiniMo. Now first off, I want to say that this is their newest item to the Jetboil lineup. And the two things that really make the MiniMo interesting versus some of their earlier versions is the fact that it's a wider pot than it is tall, because if you're used to Jetboils, you're used to them being tall and skinny. Well, this one's more short and fat, and then also the burner that's in it is able to simmer, so you can actually cook on this. Between the little bit wider pot and the burner, you should be able to simmer on this and actually do a little bit of cooking. Now, saying that, I want to say that the pot is made of aluminum. It's not a titanium. And also saying that, it's my understanding that Jetboil is actually discontinuing both the Soul TIs and the aluminum versions starting 2015. So if you're interested in picking one of those up, I'd suggest you do so while they're still available. But anyway, the Jetboil MiniMo, it's aluminum. It's an aluminum cup. Now, the whole unit that the whole thing that comes together is 14.7 ounces. And there are some things that I'm not going to use with this MiniMo. The first off is the cup. I never use the cup on my Soul, and I don't have any intentions of using it with the MiniMo. I see how it could be usable, but it's just not what I want. So that's one thing I'm going to leave off. I can't remember specific weights on these. I'm wanting to say that this might be around 1.7 ounces or something like that. So anyway, there's the cup. And then if we take the lid off, there's the lid, and then there's the burner, or the stand for the burner. I think all the Jetboils may come with these. I'm not 100% sure. I know my Soul came with it, and the MiniMo obviously came with it. Never used it with my Soul, and I don't have any intentions of using it with my MiniMo. However, it is nice to have it as an option. I will say it does store in the lid pretty nice, but it's whatever. So those two options I won't be using. Saying that, the rest of the items, which consist of the lid, the cup with the sleeve and the handles, and the stove burner, comes in at 12.9 ounces. Now, one thing I'd like to do, I don't really care for the lid. It fits fine actually, and it actually fits the cup rather well too, so you can actually put it over there and drink through it. But I don't need these features like the drainer lid, or the draining holes. I don't need the sippet lid because I'm not going to drink from this. So it's really kind of dead weight, this is. What I would like to do is find another, just a plain old lid. I think I got this from a can of peanuts or something. And it fits my sole perfectly, holds everything in well, and it's only about 2/10 of an ounce versus the 0.7 or 0.8 ounces of the lid that it replaced. So it didn't cut out tons of weight, but it did save a little bit of weight. And just for a point of reference, for the same components here, the lid, the pot with the cozy, and the stove, this is 8 ounces versus 12.9 ounces. So, if you'll see, the stove and a canister fit a little different inside the MiniMo than it does in the other stoves. The other stoves, they stack. This one, they go in sideways. And I don't know if I really like that, for the simple fact that I used to leave these caps behind thinking that's just dead weight. However, knowing that it protects the threads and it also keeps dirt and everything from getting in there, that's kind of important to me, so I've gotten to where I like to keep the cap on it despite the weight. However, if you put these two pieces together and leave the cap on, it won't fit. Now, I could probably shove it in there, but then I'm going to be scratching the inside of the pot up and everything, and that's not going to hurt it, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to mess up the burner by any chance either. So that's kind of one bummer. Of course, I can just stick it in there like so, throw that in there. That way, if I'm at camp, I can just pull it all out, and then if I'm not using my, I can take it off and put that on there. Like maybe when it's in my sleeping bag at night to keep it warm or anything. But I don't know. That's kind of a bummer to me that they couldn't have made it just a hair wider, maybe a hair shorter to make up for that, because that would have been nice to have been able to keep that on. Other than that, not a lot to say about it. Well, than what it is. The handles do work nice. One thing I want to say, they advertise this as cooking in. That's one of the big features and things that they're trying to draw people to this particular Jetboil with, is that you can cook in it. However, that means you're going to have to wash it when it's done. And what I found is that you're not going to get this cozy off of the pot unless you remove the handles. And that is a pain in the butt to do. So every time I cook in this thing, I can just be real careful, make sure I don't get any food on the outside, or just real careful when I'm washing it, make sure I don't get anything on the outside. But that's not practical. I do wish that they could have maybe put a little piece of Velcro or something right there so it came off like that, or some snaps, something to secure it on that way. That would be easy to take it off, to wash it, and then to put it back on. But the way it is, I'm not real happy about that, and that's kind of making me wonder if I want to waste my time cooking in this, because I'm going to have to deal with all that. Saying that, I don't have much plans on cooking much in this anyway. I don't really like cooking my food in a pot. The only things I'll be cooking in this is going to be things that's simple to clean, like ramen. The Caesar's pad thai I like to make. I have cooked it in here once and cleanup is okay, but still I had to figure out about the outside here. And I've got the what's it called? I think it's the Good to Go pad thai meal, or Thai curry meal, something. I can't remember what it is, but I'm bringing that. I'm debating cooking it in the pot versus in the bag. I may cook it in the bag just because I don't want to have to deal with this, cleaning this up. And also it's going to depend on if I have a good water source in there, so I can collect water to actually clean it with. Because if I'm going to have to trek half a mile to get water, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to cook in the bag. Other than that, the pot is kind of sticky going on the stove burner. So whenever you've got that kind of full, that kind of makes it a little tough to, you got to be careful, getting it out of there. Also, there's only 2 holes on it to line up. So sometimes I find myself sitting there spinning it, trying to get it to line up. Versus the Jetboil, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 on the tie, so it really made it just about any which way you put it on the burner, it would lock down. So, and actually that's not very sticky there. That works out pretty good in that burner. Now, like I said, this is 12.9 ounces for the basic things that I can carry. If I can find another lid for it, that'll knock off some of the weight. But I'm wondering if this is worth it for me. Because to be quite honest, I had to send the burner on the Soul TI in because the threads were all stripped. It was aluminum threads. They replaced the threads as well as the valve, and since then, after using this and with the new valve in this one, I can actually I can simmer just as well as I can in this as I can in that. Now cooking in it will be a little bit tougher because the volume's smaller, but you know, I'm starting to wonder an extra 4.9 ounces for this to do the same thing I can with this, and especially considering I don't really cook much in the pot. So that's going to be kind of, I don't know, it's going to be something to think about. You know, that's 5 ounces basically, not quite half a pound, but pretty close to it, extra weight, and I don't know what the benefits are exactly yet. But I'm going to carry it on this hike coming up just to take it with me and use it. Who knows, maybe something will happen. I may get back and be like, whatever, I'm done with it. So we'll see. Anyway, one thing too that I do when I'm packing this in my backpack, since I do carry a Cuban fiber backpack, I just take my bandana and kind of wrap it around the stove. That way when I put it in, it kind of wraps up, kind of covers the bottom of it, protects that from rubbing up against anything in my backpack. So moving on, now the Exped SynMat UL7, and this is the medium, which is 20 inches wide and 72 inches long. Now a lot of people rave about these. I've always been a big Thermarest Neo Air fan ever since my first one, which I've only had two. I've had the regular Neo Air in a regular size, and now I've got the X-Lite in a large size, and that's what I've been using. But a lot of people rave about these Exped SynMat UL7s. And one thing that really ticked me off when Thermarest stopped making the original Neo Airs is they went to cutting corners and having the mummy shape. So between all the rave that I've heard about them and the fact that this is a regular size with a regular rectangular shape, I put it on my wish list, and my wife got it for me. So I'm looking forward to trying this out. Like I said, I have been laying on it for quite a while. I couldn't tell you, I've probably already got at least, I don't know, 12 to 14 hours just laying on this thing, maybe more. My wife keeps looking at me laying on the floor on it, wondering if I'm going to get up. But anyway, one thing about this as far as weight, just the pad itself is 16 ounces. Now, saying that, my Thermarest X-Lite in a large size weighs 15.5 ounces. So this is a smaller pad, and it weighs half an ounce more. Also, the materials that this is made out of is 20 denier top and bottom. The materials on my X-Lite is 30 denier. So my X-Lite is also, while it's bigger, it's also made out of a more durable material. The R value on this is listed at 3.1, and what's interesting is on the little tab that came with the actual mat, it said 3.1. However, if you go to the Exped site, it's listed at 3.3. So I sent them an email and said, look, I understand it's just a real minute difference, but I'm wondering which is true. Is it what the number is that came on my pad, or is it the number it came, or that's listed on the website? And they said to go with the number that's on my pad because they'll test each batch of these, and they'll put the number that's reflected on that batch up on the website. So maybe the ones they're selling now is 3.3 and this is 3.1. I don't know, that's kind of weird, I think, but maybe it's just their way of being more truthful. I don't know, I'm not going to knock them for that. But the X-Lite, my X-Lite, I think is 3.4 is what the R value is on the X-Lite. I could be wrong, could be a little higher. I can't remember for sure. But regardless, this is definitely has a lower R value than my X-Lite. Now, the way that this works is there's all these baffles going through here. And each baffle, when it opens up, there's synthetic insulation that's glued to the top and the bottom. So as the pad opens up, that insulation is pulled apart, and that's what provides you, that's what provides the insulating power in this sleeping pad. Because of that, because those synthetic fibers are in there, it's not really recommended to use your mouth to blow this up because all the moisture from your breath can get inside this bag, and it can be kind of tough to get it out. And eventually, over time too, it could either lead to I can't say the word. The pad might start degrading from the inside. Mold could form on the inside. There's lots of possibilities. So because of that, I decided to get the schnozzle bag to help blow this thing up. And it actually works pretty well. It just I just have to make sure I remember to put it in the inflate valve, not the deflate valve. Because as you may know, the inflate valve has a little stopper there, so once you stop blowing, it doesn't let air come back, whereas the deflate valve is just wide open. But one time I plugged it into the deflate valve, and after I stopped pushing on it, the air would just fill my bag back up, and I was wondering, and then I realized it was in the wrong valve. But anyway, that just fits right in there. Fill the bag up with air, kind of roll it down a little bit, and then squeeze the air in there, and it fills it in. Of course, there's going to be a little humidity in it because you're not going to get all the humidity out of the air, but there's going to be a lot less humidity using this method than using my breath. So that should help prolong the life of the pad, I believe. So we'll see how that goes. Also, what's neat about this, the schnozzle bag, is it can act as a pack liner. The pack liner I've been using is the same width. It's made by Light Trail. Same width, but it's actually about 8 to 10 inches taller than what this is. So it's not quite as big as what I want it, but it'll still work. I can still get all my down stuff inside and kind of roll it over and put everything else in there. So it does make up for that. And my Light Trail pack liner was 1.1 ounces, whereas this is 1.9 ounces. I think it's actually listed at a little over 2 ounces on the website. But mine comes in at 1.9 ounces, so that's cool. I will say that the material is a 15 denier as opposed to the 20 denier like on the actual pad. So it's a pretty delicate material, it's pretty lightweight. However, you know, like all ultralight backpacking gear, you've got to make some sort of compromises. You've got to treat it just a little more delicately. I'm getting all tongue-tied. But anyway, so that's it, the Exped SynMat UL7. I am looking forward to trying it out. One thing I do want to say is I'm having a tough time with my pillow, getting my pillows down here. The system that I have worked really well for my thermarest, but it's not working so well for this. There are not the little ties for the pillows like some of the Expeds are. But I did found that by taking some of this 1/8 inch foam pad that I got from Lawson Klein and laying it on top, of course it'll also help the R value. Also, I think that it makes it a little more comfortable because it kind of gets rid of some of the bubble effects from the chambers. But it's a little grippier, so it kind of helps hold the pillow a little bit better in place. So I'm thinking that as long as I have something stuffed up above my head, that it'll kind of launch the pillow in. So that's what I'm hoping for. One other thing I want to mention is everybody dogs the thermarest, especially the Neo Airs, because they're loud and crinkly. What I found with this pad is it's loud and crinkly as well. I think it's just because the UL material, I mean, it's not crinkly like the Neo Air, but it's still just as loud. And I think whenever it gets blown up, I mean, you can really hear, I can really hear myself moving on it. Putting this thin light pad, not thin light, it's not thin light, but putting this this pad here on top of it cuts down on the noise. But I think it's pretty interesting because I find this pad to be, I don't find either one of them to be annoying, personally. As long as I can go to sleep on it, because I'm not going to hear a thing because I'm going to be asleep. I do understand other people might. But in my opinion, both of these pads are going to make noise. You're going to hear both of them probably just as well. It might be a little bit different kind of noise one pad makes versus the other, but it's still a noise. And I found that really interesting because a lot of people dog Neo Airs because of that, so I wanted to mention that. Anyway, I know it sounds like I'm really biased towards my thermarest, and that's because it just works for me. However, I am willing to give this a shot, and I look forward to having it in my closet as an option. So anyway, I know this is kind of a long video. Once I go on the hike, I'll do another video afterwards and kind of update my thoughts on some of these items and maybe see how things go from there. So anyway, Happy New Year's everyone. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.